Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Yes, of course it's Ask Rob and Rob, because it's Tuesday, and that means that we've collected up a couple of your questions and we're going to give our best shot to answering them. Paddy and Gary are this week's questioners. We'll be hearing from those in just a minute after a quick recap of how you can send in a question of your own.
Yes, it remains super simple. You've got two options. You can call on 013 808 00035 or get to thepropertyhub.net/ask. And first up, someone who's followed that process to a T is Paddy.
Hi Rob and Rob, it's Paddy here from Croydon. I was hoping you'd be able to give me a bit of a steer on something. I'm just coming to the end of a fixed rate period on one of my buy-to-lets. So I was wondering what your thoughts were on 2-year versus 5-year deals, especially given the property cycle that we're in right now. Thanks a lot for all the podcast guys and all the content you put up there. Cheers.
Great question, Paddy. Always a bit of a dilemma. Really what this comes down to is certainty versus flexibility. So if you take out a 5-year fix, you know exactly what your mortgage costs are going to be for the next 5 years, which is a long time. So that's fantastic. It's one less thing to worry about. And as long as your rent stays consistent or goes up, then you know where you're going to be. The disadvantage of that is it does mean that normally those come with early repayment penalties. So if you decided within the next 5 years that you wanted to either sell the property or refinance it to pull more money out, you'd be paying a penalty for doing so. So if you've got plans to refinance, either because you think the market's going up or because you're adding value to the property, probably a better idea to go for a 2-year fix so you're not tied in for as long. Of course, if you do end up 2 years in the future and you haven't taken advantage of that flexibility, then you're going to be worse off because who knows what mortgage rates are going to be? They might be higher. And you're probably going to have to pay another set of fees for refinancing. So it's always a dilemma about what to do. I've had this dilemma many times in the past. You can never be entirely sure if you're doing the right thing. It's always going to depend on your own plans, but at the moment the case for 5-year fixes is looking pretty good. For a start, it's hard to imagine mortgage rates being any better than they are now. The base rate is so low, there's so much competition among lenders, it really does seem like there's only one way they can go. And it's unlikely that for the next few years at least we're going to be in for a period of massive capital growth in the market as a whole. Of course, you can never really know, but the property cycle seems to suggest that we've got a little bit longer before the aggressive growth in this cycle really kicks off. So it's always a tough call, but chuck those opinions into the mix. Think about your own plans for the property, and hopefully you'll come to a decision that won't end up just flipping a coin.
There you go, Paddy. Rob's just made interest rates interesting. Well done, Rob. And next up, we've got Gary from Amsterdam.
Hi, Rob and Rob. This is Gary D. I currently live and work in Amsterdam and travel back to the UK for the weekend once a month on average, and generally to London or Kent. I have 5 single buy-to-lets in different locations within the UK. And whilst I'm not far, it does mean I cannot attend any meetups. I'm really looking to network as much as possible because my next goal is to do a refurb, ideally as a JV, in or around the northwest of England. I appreciate this won't be easy, and I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts and advice on what I should do to help me achieve my goal. You guys are doing a great job. Please just keep doing what you're doing. Cheers.
Hey Gary, thanks for your question. Always a difficult one building your network overseas. I know you mentioned the Property Hub meetups, and we do have them internationally. We've got them in Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, but none of them are still close enough for you. And although flight times are relatively short from Amsterdam back over to the UK, still a bit of a trek for you to get along. So I feel your pain. Now, unfortunately, we can't start one in Amsterdam in the next few weeks for you. So what can you do instead? Really, the best thing that you should be doing, Gary, is building up your online network. And you can use the Property Hub forum for that as well. So while you may not be able to meet these hubbers in person, a lot of the people who go to the meetups also participate in the forum. And many of the groups have their own threads on the forum. So, for example, if you wanted to connect with people who visit the Manchester meetup, you can go on the Manchester thread on the Property Hub and speak to some of the people there. They are super friendly, super helpful, as are all the other cities that we have too. So whether it's the community in Manchester on the Property Hub, the Liverpool community, or any other based in the Northwest that you want to target, why not make yourself known in all those locations and start building your network up that way?
Yeah, of course, it's not as easy as if you were there in person, but it is amazing what you can achieve online. I spent a few years being out of the UK for the majority of the time, and I managed to build up my network significantly during that time, just by doing some of the things that Rob talked about. So it's definitely harder, but if you force yourself to make the effort, it absolutely can be done. So that's it for another episode of Ask Rob and Rob. Thanks to Paddy, thanks to Gary for sending those questions in. If you've got one of your own, go over to thepropertyhub.net/ask. We'll be doing it all again next week. And before then, we'd love for you to join us for the Property Podcast on Thursday. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.